Attraction isn't about saying the perfect words or looking a certain way. It's about something deeper, something that leaves a man thinking about you long after you've gone. It's the way you carry yourself, calm, self-assured, and quietly powerful. The kind of energy that tells him, I don't need you to complete me, but I choose to let you in. That's what makes him take notice. That's what makes him want to stay. Women who understand this don't chase. They don't force connections. Instead, they radiate a quiet confidence, one that makes men lean in, curious to know more. The best part? This isn't about being someone you're not. It's about stepping fully into the woman you already are, the one who knows her worth and refuses to shrink herself to be accepted. If you've ever wondered what makes a man admire one woman deeply while barely noticing another, it's not luck. It's not chance. It's about presence. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to create that presence, one that captivates his mind, draws him in emotionally, and keeps him invested. By the end of this video, you'll know how to unlock that magnetic energy. And if you recognize some of these traits in yourself, let me know in the comments. Which one speaks to you most? Drop a number below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. 1. Embrace your authentic self. Some women carry a kind of magic, a quiet strength that doesn't shout for attention, yet never goes unnoticed. It's not because they're louder or flashier or trying harder than everyone else. In fact, it's often the opposite. They stand firm in who they are, grounded, calm, and certain. And that certainty is what makes them unforgettable. You know that feeling when you meet someone who's completely comfortable in their own skin. They don't adjust their personality to fit the room. They don't filter their words out of fear they might say the wrong thing. They don't shrink themselves to avoid judgment. Instead, they show up as they are, raw, honest, and unapologetically real. That's the kind of presence that lingers long after they leave. When you embrace your authentic self, you send a powerful message. I know who I am, and I'm not afraid to show it. And that's exactly what men are drawn to. Not just interest, but admiration. Because when you're secure in yourself, you become rare. You become someone a man knows he can't easily replace. But authenticity isn't just about being yourself. It's about being bold enough to stand firm in what you believe, what you want, and what you deserve. It's about living your life so fully that you never feel the need to convince anyone of your worth, because you know it. The mistake many women make is thinking they need to soften who they are to be more likable. They try to be agreeable, overly accommodating, or endlessly flexible, hoping that by blending in, they'll be more desirable. But blending in never makes you memorable, it makes you forgettable. Men are drawn to certainty, not arrogance, not superiority, but quiet confidence. The kind that says, I know my value, and I won't diminish it to fit into someone else's expectations. That's what makes you magnetic. The ancient Stoics believed this deeply. They taught that the foundation of inner peace, and ultimately, influence, comes from knowing yourself so well that you no longer seek approval from others. Epictetus once said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, the moment you stop performing for acceptance, you step into your true power. But embracing your authentic self isn't just about confidence. It's also about courage. Courage to say no when something doesn't align with your values. Courage to speak up even if your voice shakes. Courage to walk away when your boundaries are being tested. This kind of strength doesn't just attract men, it commands respect. Because a woman who refuses to compromise her standards becomes unforgettable. She's not easily swayed. She's not desperate for validation. And that's precisely what makes her magnetic. Think about the most captivating people you've met. They're not the ones who try to impress you. They're the ones who hold their ground, who stand firm in their truth, even when it's uncomfortable. They know that true strength doesn't come from pleasing everyone. It comes from being at peace with who you are and trusting that the right people will recognize your value. When you live this way, something shifts. Men notice. They sense your certainty. That rare kind of presence that says, I know who I am, and I refuse to shrink to make you feel more comfortable. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to be what you think men want, you become exactly what they're drawn to. But here's where many women get it wrong. They mistake authenticity for oversharing, as if spilling every thought. Fear and insecurity is the key to connection. It's not. Authenticity isn't about revealing everything. It's about revealing what's real. The difference? One feels heavy and chaotic. The other feels grounded and calm. Being authentic means knowing what parts of yourself are sacred, the parts you choose to reveal slowly, to those who've earned your trust. It's about allowing a man to discover you, rather than handing him the full story all at once. Because the truth is, men value what they invest in. They appreciate what they have to pursue. And when you hold something back, when you leave room for curiosity, you create a space that draws him in. When you're authentic, you invite the right kind of man into your life, the one who sees you clearly and values you deeply, the one who isn't just drawn to how you look, but to the way you make him feel. Because men don't just fall in love with what they see. They fall in love with how you carry yourself, with the way you honor your own worth. And that's the beauty of authenticity. It frees you from the exhausting need to impress. When you embrace who you are, fully and unapologetically, you stop worrying about being too much or not enough. Instead, you become a woman who knows her value, a woman who's rare, magnetic, and unforgettable. So if you've ever felt like you had to prove your worth, if you've ever found yourself trying too hard to fit in or please others, this is your moment to stop, to stand still, to remember who you are, and own it fully. Because when you do, you won't just attract attention, you'll attract admiration. And that's something no one can fake. Now I'd love to hear from you. What's one part of your authentic self that you're most proud of? Maybe it's your humor, your compassion, or your quiet strength. Whatever it is, drop it in the comments below. And if you're feeling bold, tell me which of these qualities your partner loves most about you. 2. Master the power of eye contact. In some moments, they say everything without a single word. A glance held just a second longer than expected. A gaze that lingers, calm, steady, and sure. Those moments leave an impact that words often can't. They linger in the mind, stir curiosity, and create an invisible thread. Eye contact is powerful because it's rare. In a world filled with distractions, genuine connection often feels like a luxury. People glance at their phones, scan the room, or shift their gaze away before a conversation even begins. But when someone locks eyes with you, really sees you, it's unforgettable. It's as if, for that moment, nothing else exists. That's the kind of presence that captivates a man, the kind that makes him feel noticed, valued, and intrigued, without you saying a word. But eye contact isn't just about looking at someone. It's about how you look, the energy you carry, the quiet message you send when your eyes meet his. When done with intention, it's magnetic. A silent invitation that tells him, I see you, and I know you see me too. Women who master this understand something powerful. You don't have to chase or impress. By simply being present, by meeting his gaze without fear or hesitation, you create a space where attraction unfolds naturally. And that's what men are drawn to. Not just beauty, but presence. Not noise, but certainty. Stoic philosophy teaches us that presence is the heart of influence. Marcus Aurelius believed that calm, unwavering focus was the foundation of strength. The more grounded you are in the moment, the more powerful your presence becomes. Eye contact works the same way. It signals that you are centered, self-assured, and unshaken by external noise. But here's the mistake many women make. They avoid eye contact because they fear being too much. They worry that holding a man's gaze for too long will make them seem aggressive, intimidating, or even desperate. So instead, they glance away, speak too quickly, or keep their eyes fixed downward. And in doing so, they unknowingly send a message of uncertainty. The truth is, confidence doesn't come from trying to prove yourself. It comes from showing that you don't need to. Eye contact reflects exactly that. It says, I'm here. I'm grounded. I'm comfortable in my own skin, whether you like me or not. And that kind of self-assured presence doesn't just attract, it commands respect. But confidence doesn't mean staring someone down. It's not about intensity. It's about intention. The right kind of eye contact feels natural, not forced. It's soft yet certain, warm yet calm. It invites curiosity rather than demanding attention. When you meet a man's eyes and hold that gaze for just a second longer than expected, something shifts. You create a moment of unspoken connection, one that lingers in his mind long after the conversation ends. He may not even know why, but he'll remember you, not for what you said, but for how you made him feel. Men are wired to notice this. They pay attention to the woman who isn't easily flustered, the one who can hold her ground with quiet strength. That's the kind of energy that sparks admiration. The feeling that you're rare, that there's something about you worth discovering. But don't mistake this for a game. The goal isn't to manipulate, it's to connect. Genuine eye contact works because it's real. It shows that you're present, fully engaged in the moment, not calculating your next move. If you struggle with this, start small. When you're ordering coffee, hold the barista's gaze as you say thank you. When you're speaking to a friend, resist the urge to look away. Stay present in the conversation. Each time you do, you strengthen your ability to connect without words, to create impact through presence alone. And when it comes to men, don't underestimate the power of a well-timed glance. Imagine you're at a dinner party, and across the room, a man catches your eye. Instead of turning away, hold his gaze for just a second longer. Then let a subtle smile curve your lips before looking away. No words, no effort. Yet in that brief moment, you've created intrigue. That's the kind of presence that leaves a mark. But here's the real secret. Mastering eye contact isn't just about attracting men. It's about stepping fully into your own power. Because when you hold someone's gaze without fear or hesitation, you're sending a message that's impossible to ignore. I see my own value, and I'm not afraid to be seen. And that's what makes you unforgettable. Not because you tried to be, but because you trusted yourself enough to simply be. 3. Develop a magnetic presence. People remember how you made them feel. Long after the conversation ends, long after they've forgotten your words or what you were wearing, what lingers is the energy you carried. Some women seem to have a natural presence that draws people in. They don't demand attention. They simply hold it. Something about them feels grounded, calm, and undeniable. It's not loud, yet you can't ignore it. It's quiet confidence, and it's magnetic. Think of a woman like that. Maybe she's the one who doesn't say much at a gathering, yet somehow people gravitate toward her. Maybe she's the friend who seems calm in any situation, the one whose presence feels steady, unshaken by chaos. Or perhaps she's the stranger you noticed from across the room, not because she tried to stand out, but because her energy filled the space without effort. That's magnetic presence, and it's something you can cultivate. It starts with what you believe about yourself. Women who carry this quiet power understand their worth, not in a loud or arrogant way, but in a way that says, I know who I am, and I don't need to prove it. They don't shrink to make others feel comfortable, nor do they push to be seen. They are, and that's enough. Magnetic presence begins when you stop apologizing for taking up space, when you walk into a room believing you belong there, not because you're perfect, but because you refuse to question your right to exist fully. This is why magnetic women never seem rushed. Their presence feels whole. They aren't scrambling for approval. They aren't chasing attention. They trust that their energy speaks for itself, and it does. But presence isn't just about confidence. It's about stillness, the ability to slow down when everything else feels fast. When you speak calmly, when you move with intention, when you allow silence to linger, you create space for others to feel your presence. That's what makes you unforgettable. People may not remember what you said, but they will remember that you didn't rush to fill the silence, that you stood there, unshaken, giving the moment room to breathe. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius believed that calmness was a form of strength, that composure reveals control. When you hold your ground in moments of tension, when you refuse to let insecurity rush you, you create a presence that demands respect. And when a man senses that calm, that quiet certainty, he feels something rare, the kind of energy that makes him stop. Not because you're louder, but because you're still. Magnetic presence also comes from understanding your value, not just intellectually, but emotionally. When you know you have nothing to prove, you stop over-explaining yourself. You speak when you have something meaningful to say, and you let your silence carry weight when words aren't needed. This balance, knowing when to speak and when to hold back, makes you memorable, but presence isn't built overnight. It's shaped by the way you move through life, the choices you make, the way you carry yourself. Every time you refuse to rush, every time you pause instead of reacting impulsively, you strengthen it. Presence is built in the moments you choose calm over chaos. When you stay centered, even when things feel uncertain. A woman with a magnetic presence doesn't force her way into a man's life. She creates space that invites him in, rather than chasing him down. When you slow down, when you allow things to unfold naturally, you give him the chance to notice you, not just as someone interesting, but as someone unforgettable. Picture this. You're at a social gathering. A man glances your way. Most women at that moment feel pressure to do something, to smile faster, speak louder, or fill the silence with chatter. But instead, you simply meet his gaze, calm, steady, with a hint of curiosity, and hold it for just a second longer than expected before turning away. No words, no effort. Yet suddenly you're on his mind. That's the power of presence. Quiet, confident, undeniable. It's easy to think that attracting someone requires constant effort, that you need to do more, say more, or somehow prove you're worth noticing. But magnetic presence works in reverse. It's not about adding more. It's about letting go. Letting go of the need to impress. Letting go of the pressure to perform. Letting go of the belief that you need to be louder, brighter, or faster to stand out. Because when you stop chasing, when you trust that your presence is enough, you become magnetic. You create a calm, compelling energy that draws people in. And that's the kind of presence a man won't forget. Not because you tried to impress him, but because you didn't need to. 4. Cultivate your own interests and hobbies. A woman who's deeply invested in her own life radiates a kind of energy that's impossible to ignore. When she talks about her passions, the things that excite her, challenge her, and bring her joy, her face lights up. There's a spark in her eyes, a liveliness in her voice that draws people in without her even trying. That energy is powerful because it's rare. Too often, people lose themselves in their relationships, molding their identity to fit someone else's world. They stop doing the things they once loved, believing that by being more available, they'll be more desirable. But what happens, instead, is far less romantic. They become predictable, too familiar, and eventually, less exciting. Men are drawn to women who live with purpose, women whose lives feel full, not because they're busy, but because they're passionate. When you're genuinely excited about something, whether it's art, writing, fitness, music, or exploring new places, you naturally become more attractive, not because of what you're doing, but because of how you carry yourself while doing it. That quiet confidence, the sense that you're living a life that's meaningful to you, changes everything. It shows in your posture, your energy, and your presence. When you have your own interests, you create a sense of richness, a world that's uniquely yours. And men feel that. They're drawn to the mystery of a woman who doesn't need to be constantly entertained because she's already fulfilled. This isn't about being busy for the sake of being busy. It's about finding something that lights you up, something that makes you feel connected to yourself. Women who are passionate about their own pursuits are naturally magnetic because they don't rely on anyone else to fill their time or define their happiness. And here's the paradox. The less you revolve your world around a man, the more he'll want to be part of it. When you're genuinely excited about your own life, you become someone worth discovering, not someone waiting to be saved. The Stoics believed that purpose was essential to a meaningful life. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the value of pursuing what genuinely aligns with your nature. The things that challenge your mind, expand your skills, or deepen your understanding of the world. This idea is just as powerful in relationships. A man isn't drawn to a woman because she's available at every moment. He's drawn to the woman who's invested in something meaningful outside of him. It's not just about hobbies. It's about identity. When you build a life filled with things you care about, you become more confident in who you are. That confidence makes you less reactive, less dependent on validation, and more selective about who you allow into your world. Woman who has her own interests isn't just attractive, she's intriguing. There's a sense of depth to her, a feeling that she has layers worth uncovering. She's not an open book, and that's what makes her unforgettable. Men respect women who set their own pace, women who are clear about their priorities and unafraid to protect their time. This doesn't mean you need to fill your calendar with endless activities. Sometimes, the most powerful shift comes from returning to the things you once loved but abandoned. Maybe it's writing again, exploring, photography, or diving back into yoga. Whatever it is, when you give yourself permission to explore what excites you, you tap into a part of yourself that's powerful, a part that reminds you who you are, independent of anyone else. And here's what happens when you embrace this. You stop feeling the need to overgive in relationships. You no longer pour all your energy into someone else, hoping they'll see your worth. Instead, you become a woman who's already whole, someone who invites a man into her life, rather than needing him to complete it. That energy changes the dynamic. Suddenly, you're no longer chasing, you're choosing. You create space for men to step up, to pursue you, to invest in the connection. Not because you're playing games, but because your life is already full, and you're simply inviting the right person to share it with you. Men respect women who have their own passions because it signals independence. The kind that says, I'm happy with or without you, but I'd love for you to be part of my world. That balance between independence and openness creates a tension that keeps him interested, a feeling that there's always more to know about you, always something new to discover. If you've ever felt like you're losing yourself in a relationship, this is your reminder to come back to you, to rediscover the things that make you feel alive, to nurture the parts of yourself that you've set aside. Because when you invest in your own growth, you become magnetic, not by trying to be, but because there's something undeniably compelling about a woman who's grounded in her own life. Men may admire beauty, but they fall in love with presence, with the feeling that you're not just someone to spend time with, but someone to experience. And that's what cultivating your own interests gives you. A life so rich, so full, that anyone who steps into it knows they've found something rare. 5. Balance independence with vulnerability. Have you ever felt like being strong meant keeping your guard up? Like showing too much emotion might make you seem weak or dependent? For many women, independence feels like armor, a protective layer, built over years of learning to rely on no one but themselves. But here's where many get stuck. Strength without softness doesn't invite connection. It creates distance. Men admire independence, but they fall in love with vulnerability. Not the kind that's needy or fragile, but the kind that reveals authenticity, depth, and heart. A woman who's strong yet unafraid to express what she feels carries a rare balance, and that balance is magnetic. When you hold your ground and own your life, you send a powerful message: I am whole on my own. But when you let someone in, when you allow them to see the real you, you send another message that's just as powerful. I trust you enough to let you see my heart. Both are equally important. Women who get this understand that independence isn't about building walls. It's about setting boundaries. They know how to stand firm without being closed off. They're unshaken by rejection because they don't attach their worth to someone else's approval. But they also know that emotional connection requires openness, a willingness to risk being seen, even when it feels uncomfortable. This balance, the strength to stand alone and the courage to let others in, creates something rare, a sense of security mixed with warmth. Men are drawn to women who make them feel both challenged and needed. Independence inspires admiration, but vulnerability sparks closeness. Some women mistake vulnerability for weakness, believing that expressing their feelings might push people away. But in reality, vulnerability is what makes a man feel connected. When you let him see your insecurities, your dreams, or the moments when you're uncertain, it invites him to step closer, to feel like he's part of something meaningful. It creates a space where trust grows. The Stoics believed deeply in self-control, but they also valued emotional wisdom, the ability to recognize when to hold back and when to let go. Marcus Aurelius taught that strength doesn't come from suppressing emotion, but from understanding it, acknowledging what you feel without letting it control you. That's the key. Learning to reveal your feelings not from a place of desperation, but from a place of strength. Women who master this don't overshare to seek validation. They don't flood someone with their struggles, hoping it will inspire love or sympathy. Instead, they choose their moments carefully, revealing enough to create connection while still standing firm in their independence. This balance keeps things intriguing. It leaves room for curiosity, space for someone to wonder about you, to feel the need to know more. When you embrace both sides, strength and softness, you become the kind of woman who leaves an impression. A woman who can handle life on her own, yet isn't afraid to lean on someone when it matters. That's powerful, because it tells a man, I don't need you, but I want you here. And there's nothing more compelling than being chosen by someone who doesn't rely on you to feel whole. But vulnerability isn't just about sharing your struggles. Sometimes it's about showing your excitement, your passions, or your hopes, things that make you feel exposed. It's the courage to laugh fully without worrying about how you look. It's the willingness to share an idea without fearing it'll be dismissed. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the ultimate sign of strength, because it shows you're comfortable enough in yourself to be seen. Men respect independence, but they connect with vulnerability. A man may be impressed by your confidence, but he's moved when he sees your heart. Think of a conversation where someone shared something deeply personal with you, a fear, a memory, or a dream. That moment likely stayed with you because it wasn't just words, it was trust. Vulnerability creates that, an unspoken connection that feels real, raw, and unforgettable. But here's what's important. Vulnerability isn't about telling your whole life story to anyone who asks. It's about sharing the right moments with the right person. The more selective you are with your openness, the more meaningful those moments become. In relationships, this balance makes all the difference. Women who give too much too soon often overwhelm a man, not because they aren't valuable, but because they leave no space for curiosity. On the other hand, women who guard themselves too tightly create walls that make connection impossible. The key is knowing when to step back and when to lean in. When you're grounded in your independence, vulnerability becomes a choice, not a cry for attention. And when a man senses that your openness comes from strength rather than insecurity, he values it more. Men are wired to pursue, to feel like they've earned a place in your world. But if you hold your emotions too tightly, he may feel like there's nothing to fight for, like there's no space for him to step in. Balancing independence with vulnerability invites him to engage, to feel like he's not just attracted to you, but invested in you. This balance isn't about playing games. It's about understanding that strength and softness aren't opposites. They're partners. The strongest women know how to lead with calmness and courage, yet still have the grace to reveal their hearts when it matters most. A man may admire your strength, but he'll stay for your softness. Independence makes him respect you. Vulnerability makes him care. And when you combine both, you create a connection that feels different, deeper, stronger, and far more lasting. So let yourself be seen. Not recklessly, but intentionally. Be bold enough to stand strong, yet wise enough to know that your strength shines brightest when you're unafraid to show your heart. 6. Use the power of positive energy. Some people walk into a room and everything feels lighter. Conversations flow more easily. Smiles come naturally. People feel at ease, as if they've just stepped into a warm, inviting space. That's the quiet power of positive energy, and it's far more powerful than most people realize. Positive energy doesn't mean pretending to be cheerful all the time, or forcing a smile when things aren't going well. It's deeper than that. It's about the energy you carry, the way you approach life, handle challenges, and connect with others. It's the quiet optimism that says, I believe in better things, even when circumstances are difficult. And that belief shows, not in what you say, but in the way you make people feel. Men are drawn to this kind of presence, not because they're looking for someone who's always happy, but because positive energy creates something irresistible, a sense of calm, warmth, and possibility. It's the feeling that no matter what's happening, you won't be consumed by negativity or dragged down by drama. That's what makes a man feel safe, inspired, and deeply connected. And it's what keeps him coming back. But cultivating this energy isn't about ignoring pain or pretending life is perfect. It's about mastering your mindset, learning to focus on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. Women who do this develop an inner strength that radiates outward. They don't dwell on past mistakes or obsess over things beyond their influence. Instead, they carry themselves with grace, grounded yet hopeful, strong yet open. This mindset aligns deeply with Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believe that peace comes not from avoiding hardship, but from facing it with calm acceptance. Epictetus taught that we can't control what happens, but we can always control how we respond. And that response, the choice to stay calm, to maintain perspective, to focus on growth, shapes the energy you project. A woman with this energy doesn't panic when things go wrong. She doesn't crumble under pressure or lash out when things feel overwhelming. Instead, she steps back, breathes, and chooses her response carefully. That stillness, that quiet self-control, creates an aura of strength that draws people in. But positive energy isn't just about staying calm during hardship. It's also about celebrating the present. Women who embrace positivity bring a sense of joy to everyday moments. They laugh easily, find humor in the little things, and create an environment that feels safe and inviting. Their energy tells people, "You're welcome here. You're valued here." And that's what makes people want to stay. This warmth isn't something you can fake. It comes from feeling genuinely fulfilled in your own life. When you pursue things that excite you, when you spend time with people who uplift you, when you focus on gratitude rather than frustration, that energy becomes part of who you are. And without trying, you carry it with you wherever you go. Men notice this. They feel it in the way you smile at strangers, in the calmness you show during difficult conversations, and in the quiet confidence that says, "I can handle whatever comes my way." That's what makes you magnetic. Not because you're perfect, but because your energy makes life feel lighter, easier, and better. But here's where it gets powerful. Positive energy isn't just about how you make others feel. It's about how you feel about yourself. When you embrace this mindset, you stop chasing people's attention. You no longer seek validation or overthink how others perceive you. Instead, you become someone who owns her space, someone who isn't easily shaken by outside opinions because her peace comes from within. This is what separates fleeting attraction from something deeper. A man may notice your beauty, but what keeps him invested is how he feels around you. The sense that being with you makes him feel stronger, calmer, and more inspired. Positive energy creates that, not by performing, but by becoming the kind of woman who turns ordinary moments into something memorable. Think of the women who leave an impact. They're not necessarily the loudest or the most glamorous. They're the ones who make people feel seen, the ones who lift conversations, rather than dominate them, the ones whose presence feels warm, inviting, and safe. That's the power of positive energy. It's not about demanding attention, but about creating a space that makes others feel good about being there. Developing this energy starts with small habits. Practicing gratitude, choosing calm over chaos, and reminding yourself that your worth isn't tied to how others react to you. When you focus on building inner peace, you naturally become someone who radiates calm confidence, the kind of energy that men can't forget. And here's what's remarkable. When you embody this mindset, you naturally attract people who mirror that energy. Because positive energy is contagious. It draws in those who value peace, connection, and growth. It creates an environment where meaningful relationships thrive. Not because you're trying to impress, but because you're living in alignment with your values. So if you've ever wondered why some women seem to effortlessly capture attention, it's not always about their looks or words. It's often about the energy they bring, the feeling that spending time with them leaves you better than before. That's the power of positive energy. It doesn't shout for attention. It simply makes you unforgettable. 7. Maintain a sense of mystery. Curiosity is powerful. It stirs the mind, ignites attraction, and keeps people wanting more. In relationships, that same force can be the difference between fleeting interest and deep, lasting desire. A woman who understands the art of mystery doesn't reveal everything at once. She knows that her presence alone, her calm confidence, her quiet certainty, already speaks volumes. She doesn't rush to explain herself, nor does she feel the need to prove her worth. Instead, she lets people uncover her, layer by layer, leaving just enough unknown to keep them intrigued. Mystery isn't about playing games or being distant. It's about creating space for curiosity. When you reveal too much too soon, you erase that space. You leave no room for someone to wonder, to imagine, or to invest effort in discovering who you really are. And in doing so, you risk making the connection feel predictable. And predictable rarely feels exciting. The most captivating women understand this. They speak thoughtfully, choosing their words with intention. They don't fill silences just to ease discomfort. Instead, They allow those quiet pauses to linger, knowing that presence doesn't require constant explanation. This kind of self-assured stillness is magnetic. It makes a man lean in, not because he's confused, but because he's curious. He senses that there's more to know, that beneath her calm exterior lies something deeper, richer, and more compelling than what's been shared so far. And that feeling, the sense that there's more to discover, keeps him invested. But the mystery isn't about withholding your feelings or acting cold. It's about knowing when to share and how much. Women who master this understand the power of timing. They know that some moments are better left unspoken, not because they're hiding something, but because mystery creates momentum. It makes a man want to know more, to earn his place in her world. The Stoics believe deeply in this balance, the idea that true strength lies in restraint. Epictetus once said that those who master self-control hold the greatest power, not because they suppress their emotions, but because they reveal them intentionally. The same applies to building attractions. Revealing too much too soon is like reading the final chapter of a book before starting the first. The story loses its tension. The ending feels ordinary. Mystery thrives in patience. It's in the moments when you resist the urge to overshare, when you hold back just enough to leave room for him to wonder. That pause, that subtle restraint, creates a feeling that's unforgettable. A sense that you're not just someone he's met, but someone he still wants to understand. Men are wired to pursue, to feel like they're uncovering something valuable. When you let him see glimpses of your world, without revealing everything, you create a natural pull. He'll remember the way you paused before answering a question, the way you smiled without explaining why, or the way you held eye contact, just long enough to make him wonder what you were thinking. This kind of presence isn't about manipulation, it's about confidence. A woman who values herself doesn't feel the need to over-explain or over-give. She knows that her presence alone is enough, and that understanding who she is requires time, effort, and attention. But here's the key. The mystery isn't about hiding who you are. It's about embracing the parts of yourself that don't need immediate explanation. It's about understanding that the most powerful connections are built slowly, through curiosity, not confession. The next time you meet someone new, resist the temptation to fill every silence with words. When he asks about your past, your goals, or your dreams, don't give him every detail right away. Instead, share just enough to invite curiosity. Give him a reason to ask more questions, to wonder what else there is to know. Mystery isn't about being complicated or unpredictable. It's about allowing yourself to unfold naturally. When you reveal your layers over time, you create a dynamic that's both exciting and meaningful. One that invites a man to stay engaged, not because he's confused, but because he's captivated. And here's what makes this so powerful. Mystery keeps a man emotionally invested. It taps into something primal, the feeling that he's pursuing something rare, something worth working for. When you create that tension, the feeling that he's discovering you little by little, you leave a lasting impression. He won't forget you, not because you tried to be unforgettable, but because you let him feel like he was unlocking something special. Mystery is the quiet confidence of knowing you're worth discovering, and trusting that the right man will take the time to do exactly that. Attraction isn't about trying harder. It's about becoming more you. The most captivating women aren't the ones who constantly seek attention. They're the ones who stand firm in their own presence. Women who embrace their authenticity, carry quiet confidence, and invite curiosity without forcing it. When you focus on your own growth, when you cultivate a life that excites you, your energy shifts. You stop chasing, and instead, you draw people in naturally. Positive energy becomes part of your presence. Confidence becomes effortless. And mystery? That unfolds when you trust that your story is worth discovering. This isn't about playing games or changing who you are. It's about owning your power. Every time you choose calmness over chaos, strength over self-doubt, and authenticity over perfection, you sharpen that power. And when you learn to balance your independence with vulnerability, you create something unforgettable, a connection that's built on respect, curiosity, and admiration. So start today. Focus on the parts of yourself that light you up. Embrace your interests, your quirks, and the qualities that make you unique. Don't rush to reveal everything. Let people earn their way into your world. And if you've ever wondered what makes you unforgettable, remember this. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real. Bold, warm, and unapologetically you. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these insights resonated most with you? What qualities have you found most powerful in your own journey? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story could inspire someone else.